Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Carcassonne. So, next one would, I guess, be the Inns and Cathedrals uh, expansion, where this is kind of a big expansion compared to the Abbot, which was a small change, and the river is kind of just adding a little bit more busy work at the beginning of playing Carcassonne. This feels like this is going to be very different, so much so that we have an entirely different tutorial we should do. It is worth mentioning, yes, I have played the river. I don't know if I've ever played the Abbot version of Carcassonne, but I have definitely not played any of these other versions. And it is a little shocking how many different versions there are here. So you build inns and erect cathedrals for more strategy and bigger scores. Also be on the lookout for large meeples. Inn and Cathedral expands the world of Carcassonne, offering more tiles and gameplay options that greatly increase the strategy and depth of the game, which honestly, it needed that quite a bit. Although, inherently, there will be people that get different expansions versus just Inn and Cathedrals, which may make it very odd. If you were to perhaps have like a tournament of Carcassonne players, it'd be very hard to have different people playing different versions, or decide which version is the tournament level version to play as. Scoring opportunities present themselves as you take in the hospitality of cozy inns and become introduced to a new meeple. However, be mindful of the cathedral in the town square. It can bring you one step closer to glory or to your downfall. So it feels like the large meeple is just going to be a meeple with the number 2 on it instead of actually being bigger or possibly thicker. We'll see how it actually is depicted in the digital version of the game. When you are this big, you must be twice as strong. Use this meeple to muscle all opponents for hard-earned cities, roads, monasteries, and fields. Rules: each player receives a large meeple in addition to the regular meeple stockpile. A large meeple is worth 2 regular meeples and is used in the same manner as a regular meeple. Use it to claim features and score points with them as usual. It's not a multiplier, though, of 2. It's just 2 instead of 1. So if you're gonna, your score is not going to, well, I guess technically it is a multiplier of 2 because you were always scoring 1 point before and now you're scoring 2. But it feels like the next step of this would be something that could score for quite a bit more than 1 point, and then you'd multiply it by 2. For instance, if you could get a monastery with a large meeple on it, that feels like that should give you 18 points instead of 9. Once the monastery is completed. Remember that if you have more meeples in a feature than any other player's present, you claim all the points, whereas your opponent receives none. Some road tiles now include an inn, which is new to this expansion, which I guess is this highlighted part here. Completing a road with 1 or more inns on it allows a player to score 2 points per tile instead of 1. I'm kind of confused as to what is an inn here. Is this an inn, or are these inns, or are these inns? However, be aware that during the final scoring, an incomplete road with an inn on it does not score any points. So there's actually a way to not gain points where it's been 100% positive effects up until this point. Also new to this expansion are 2 special city tiles with a cathedral, which is, I guess, this little cross thing here. Completing the city with 1 or both cathedrals inside it allows the player to score 3 points per tile, and a coat of arms instead of the usual 2. Again, be aware that during the final scoring, an incomplete city with a cathedral inside does not score any points. So there really are some negative effects here. Let's play this tutorial now, which may be unnecessary at this point. Welcome to the Inns and Cathedrals tutorial. This tutorial is to explain the new features included in this expansion. So pretty much I think they're going to skip explaining the basic stuff. As you can see, we've already set up the board to speed things up. Let's steal away your opponent's city. This is also a great opportunity to introduce the large meeple. Place the tile in the highlighted spot with the city at the top. Well, I thought they wanted the city pointing towards the top, but I guess not. Now select the large meeple. Large meeple is worth 2 regular meeples, and this makes perfect meeple to steal features away from the opponents. And so yeah, it does probably mean that in the real world, the large meeple is just twice as thick and has a number 2 on it, and is not any taller or wider, because it would kind of be a mistake to make the play pieces taller and wider. Place the large meeple in the city to capture it. Yep. If it is any bigger, I wouldn't be surprised if it's only like 10% bigger or so. So just play a turn with no more instruction. Time for you to place your tile to capture the city. And do we put one here while we're at it? I guess we should. When calculating disputed features, we compare each player's meeple value. In this case, the opponent has a meeple value of 1, while you have a meeple value of 2. This gives you control of the city. And theoretically, this might also give you an achievement just for doing the tutorial. Keep in mind that large meeple will return to your hand when you close the feature, so take care not to lose it on a monastery or an unfinished feature. And it's just not saying anything as we play the next turn. Now let me present you with a inn tile. Inn tiles always feature an inn with a pond next to the road. Okay, so they make it a little bit easier to identify. Alright. Place this tile in the highlighted spot in order to close the road with the inn. You can place a meeple as you would normally. Capture this road to earn some points. I guess there's not really a reason to use the number 2 meeple there. That was 1, 2, 3, 4. But because of the inn, we got 8. Because you completed a road lined with an inn, you scored 2 points per tile instead of 1, which that is a pretty big difference in their scoring system. There's a drawback to inns though. If you cannot close the road by the end of the game, the road will not yield any points. Placing the inn on an opponent's road is a good way to prevent them from scoring points toward the end of a game. Just make sure you can't close the road. This is the cathedral tile, which is a big building with a little cross. I'm trying to figure out though what the little yellow here is supposed to represent. If I assume that the red and white are kind of tents and that these are just houses in a city, what is the yellow supposed to be? And they're calling it a cathedral, but I almost think it might be better if they had called it a bazaar, because they already have the monastery, And while a bazaar may not be that familiar for players, this easily could be the roof line of a bazaar, and it would make more sense for like there to be a bazaar as far as being full of shops inside of a city versus a cathedral taking up a significant portion of a city. But whatever. This is a cathedral tile. Placing it within a city will boost both the city tile and coat of arms values to 3, but only if you close this city. So I think you get like 2 points per city. And yeah, when you're actually seeing it, here you can see they made a big deal of making just the parts that are important depicted here, at least in the unconstructed version of it. And just, you can see how this 3D modeling looks better than, say, this 3D modeling over here, where things are just too small and they look flat in 2D. Even over here, with the flags and all, most of it is small and flat. Capture the city the same way you normally would capture the city. It's making kind of a weird fish shape, just coincidentally. Of course, this would look way better if the angle could be tilted a little bit more. Alright. Time to close the city for some big points. I'm still not 100% sure how the scoring goes. Seems like you get 2 points per tile in a city normally, and so then it will be 3 points per tile, which is a big score with a cathedral, and then maybe even 4 points if it had a coat of arms in it, which they're not showing that. You should just always play your meeple still. So even when you zoom in here, I'm still not really sure what this yellow gold squares are supposed to represent. And visually it's just gotten a lot busier, where you could have easily gotten rid of half of these turrets and all of the interior buildings for like this tile, and half of the interior buildings overall, because it is just visually very busy, and yeah, kind of distracting. As you can see, the cathedral allowed you to score 3 points per city tile and 3 points for each coat of arms instead of 2 points. So I guess you just get an additional 2 points for each coat of arms, but I don't believe there were actually any coat of arms. However, it's fairly obvious how you would get the achievement to get over 100 points when you have modifiers like this that would increase your score significantly. The cathedral is very powerful, but be careful. If you cannot close the city by the end of the game, the city will not yield any points. This is a great way to prevent an opponent from scoring points toward the end of the game. Just make sure he doesn't close that city. Now that you've learned all there is to know about this expansion, try to win the game on your own. Okay. So, we're playing as red, even though I think I changed my color back to blue. And the tutorial previously had us playing as blue. So some inconsistency there. I'm going to place this. I'm going to put my number 2 here. And I'm going to try and steal this road from him. Yep. perfect. And this is an inn, so not only do I get to steal the road, I get to get double points for stealing the road. 8 for me, 0 for him. I'm up to like 40 points. Now we have 6 turns. So the question would come down to, what are the odds of finishing a city? I think it's pretty low, so I'm going to put it here. I guess you could have both cathedrals. Let's see. Apparently, something new happened. This is a special inn tile. Only the top roads benefit from it, so not the bottom roads. Okay. Since the inn is not next to the bottom road does not benefit from the inn bonus. Well, the roads next to it do. Okay. So how do I want to play that? You could start basically anywhere, or you could do something else. Like this is probably a dead tile. This is probably a dead tile. If I did this and then spun it, seemingly I can't spin in this tutorial though. Yeah, weird. Alright, well. Just put a regular meeple there. Let's see. Put that there and a regular meeple here. Now the inn tile I don't think affects the city, so I don't think I have to worry about that. So just put that there. And sure, why not? So we're starting at like 40 to 13. It feels like the way this goes, you would hit the edge of the screen at about 250 or so, and you probably have a hard time actually getting to such a high scoring amount. In fact, I imagine you could run some kind of computer simulation and run all the combinations to find the maximum number you could actually score, and it's probably a low number, relatively speaking. That giant farm area only gave me 6. So I did way better on roads. Didn't do anything with monasteries, but did way better on cities, way better on fields. And I think what's not being really represented here is the double meeple improving that score. And you can't go back and check to see where the double meeples were placed to get better roads. Ideally, you would be able to review the board and then step back in every step. It would be a very small amount of text that you would have to save to record every single action from step 1, step 2, step 3. And yet that feature is missing. Okay. So that, yeah, I changed my color back to blue. Notice it's color spelled with a U, the British way. And complete a city with at least one cathedral did not unlock, even though we did do it in the tutorial, which I guess is fine. So let's play a game with just ending cathedrals, and then we'll play a game with the abbot in the river and then end cathedrals. Of course, now there are multiple varieties and variations one could have with different expansions. So we are starting with 90 tiles. That is quite a lot. Like that, how do you even stack 90 tiles? They'd have to be like rice paper thin to have a stack of 90 tiles. Almost certainly you would have to have a stack of like 15 several times over, or 30 3 times over. Right. Zoom in to something reasonable. Check here. Claim this. Wish you could claim multiple things. Because, like, there definitely would be a strategy where somebody might just spend 4 of their meeples in their first move and then lock themselves out of any benefit. Maybe you could have a rule set where you could only use 2 meeples per turn at most. But even being able to do 2 would be a difference. I'm not sure if there's a actual value here in having different sections highlighted by color, but it seems like that might be useful. Okay. You can't click on this tile and zoom in more. I don't think that's a... No, that wouldn't be an inn. I don't think that's a road. Yeah, if this was a road, I could place it here. Or over here. So I have to do this. It's about my only choice. And we'll claim this zone. This is kind of a great place to claim a zone because it's going to wrap around the farm and wrap around this road. Wrap around the monastery. So at a certain level you are just trying to... Well, it's not highlighting every tile you own with a specific color. It's only highlighting where the last tiles were played. That is something a digital version of this game can help you with, giving you that perfect recall. Certainly, but I don't know if you really even benefit much from having perfect recall. Do I want to connect this more this way? Do I have really any other choice? I think I'm best suited. Well, this is a finished thing. Next we have an edge of the city, which I could play here. Does that benefit me? Putting it there versus somewhere else. No, I think this is good. Place that. Claim that. Do I get double? I mean, you might as well just use your double meeple to claim it, since you're just going to get it back anyways. Although I'm not sure that really did increase the score any. No, it didn't. Suppose there is an interesting thought around. Let's see. Is there something else we could do? I'm gonna go crazy here. I'm going to double meeple on this. I suppose there is kind of an interesting thought around if a game can have someone commentating on it, does it have perhaps a broader appeal or a longer lasting appeal? Because certainly I have been able to comment on this a little bit, but I could also see a scenario where the repetition of the commentary might get exhausting. Okay. What do we want to do here? So it'd probably benefit me most to continue to build. Is this farm disputed land? I think it is. Might be better to do that. And then put one here. I don't know if we really need a sound effect when it does this. It seems unnecessary, particularly such a sharp and potentially jarring sound effect. This guy put a 2 here. That's what happened. Okay. So that means I need to figure out a way to regain control of this somehow. Is there a way? Yeah. That's probably the best way to do that. And then maybe play this. Here. My hope is that I could potentially connect the two farms around this part. But we shall see what happens. We're halfway through this game. Right. So there's a lot of room still for wonkiness. Probably should just grab some points. That's probably my best bet. It's just to maybe try and make a dead tile this way and lock out that player while grabbing some points for myself by doing this. Yeah, I'm clearly not doing that good. I'm at like 6 points where everybody else is above 14. Well, no, there is one player here at 10. But then there is also a player here at 24. And I suppose you might have this slight architectural desire to try and build the best thing you can build, and it's questionable whether that will really happen. Almost certainly, if you were trying to build something, you'd have to figure out if there is some kind of like solitaire solo way you could play this game. Some way in which you could regain total control. Right, that'll get me some points. We've got 30 more cards, so we're 2/3 of the way done. Okay. Here we have a dead spot, which may make a dead spot there, or could make a dead spot there. This removes this person's possibility of winning, so I think you do this. And there's no reason to play any meeples there. I'm late to the party with a cathedral. This is an interesting tile. I don't think I've seen that before. 4-way city caps. Like mathematically, there is a limit as far as how many of these actually could, how many different tiles you could actually make. Like, and logically, I think the best bet to do is to just do this and put one there and just hopefully not run out of points. I can't believe they got such a long road connected. I'm up to 10 compared to 45 and 39. So unless the farms would just win for us in some insane way, there's no way this is gonna work. I could get points by placing a road here on the edge. Could I make a longer road somewhere for a connection? It's kind of unlikely. Could I make a city connection? With 16 pieces left? Probably not. Yeah, so the move is to do this. Place that, put that on the road. Somehow pink has gained all of this territory and control of the territory. I don't know how Pink did that, but I do seem to own this territory, kind of a significant amount of it. So it'll just be a matter of finding out if we can benefit from that. I think people have pretty much given up on getting any points from these city pieces, but I could put one here. Do I have any better options? I can put one here, since I do own this territory. Or I could put one here. Probably be better to do this. If I can get this city to build, if I get really, really lucky and could get this city to build, I might have a chance of winning. But it would be a low chance even at that point. I'm not even sure I'm going to have another turn. I do have one more turn. One more turn in which seemingly I might not be able to do much of anything. This isn't an inn because there isn't a pawn next to it. So best case scenarios, you do this. You put this here. It gets you a couple points. Since that's my last move anyways. So let's see where the scoring goes. Can I come from the underdog to win? I seriously doubt it. Now we started with 90 cards with this configuration with this many players. What I need to do is start another game and just see if that starts with 90 cards again. Or if it starts with, say, 15 fewer cards. But then I'll just exit out after that, because that is a question that I'm wondering about. Fields, I don't think ever have high chances of scoring a lot, because if you're getting like 2 points per city in that field, you still would have to have a fairly significant number of cities in that one connected field, not being broken up by roads, and Carcassonne is mostly roads as far as its tile sets. 12 there, bumped me up to average. Wow. There's at least not a horrible score happening there. We unlocked hatching a plot, but it doesn't really show you what hatching a plot is as far as an achievement. So we can see we did worst with roads. We did worst, we tied for worst in monasteries. We didn't do worst for cities. We were about in the middle with cities. Maybe I overemphasized with cities. And actually did the best with fields. So, if anything, I guess that probably highlights that fields are not worth it. Because if you're the best player with fields and you still end up in last place, there's some evidence to that. Hatching a plot. Occupy more fields than any opponent during a match. Was that in-game achievement. So if I just click this, remove it, start exactly the same, will we start with 90 cards? Yes, you will. Is 90 divisible by 6? Should be, yeah. 15 times 6, I believe, is 90. Is 90 divisible by 5? Should be. Is 90 divisible by 3? Yes. Is 90 divisible by 2? Yes. And everything is divisible by 1. So, it is very possible that the starting number of cards is always divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Although you would get really crazy if you tried to have something that was divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The math there gets a lot more complicated, and the numbers, I imagine, get much bigger at that point, because I don't believe 90 is divisible by 7. I'm not sure what would be the least common multiplier. Is that what it's called? It's been a long time since I've been in a math class, so greatest number divisible, one of the two. I think it's least common multiple, or something like that, multiplier, that you would be looking for. Okay. Let's turn on the abbot, and let's turn on the river, and let's play one more game, which, with the tutorial, that has already put us 42 minutes into an experience, and that bumps it up to 101, which, yeah, I suppose if you started at 90 and then you add the river cards, 6 plus 101 wouldn't quite make sense. Which way do we want to go with this? We want to cut off this farmland, is what we would want to do, because I think the strategy that you start with would be to grab farmland on the river versus grabbing a road to start on the river. So I'm taking the bet that this area here will grow, where he's taking the bet that this area here will grow. Although, nope, that doesn't seem to be the case. No, he put a abbot down, not a character. So, wasn't even reading it correctly, visually. So, 89 is what we're starting at, which is not too far from 90. And I've already forgotten some of the rules around the abbot. That you can kind of score early on the abbot, and that the abbot can be on the field of flowers. Okay, how do we play this off? Options seem low. So, give 2 points to 2 people, or give 2 points or 3 points to 1 person. I think you choose this. You choose this. You put a regular meeple here. You call it a day. Then someone else had to put a castle piece next to my castle piece because it seems like some of these plays are getting boxed in. Ooh, that is kind of the perfect, ideal move. Now, we come down to something like this. Play it here, could play it here. Don't have any other options. I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna take the abbot and put it here. They're building around my abbot, whether they want to or not. I could overconnect these two with that. Or I could try to start my own building. Or I could connect this. I think we do this. I think that makes sense. Even though that means I can't put anything down. Notice that it pointed an arrow to the abbot for 6 points if I wanted to go and grab that. And then we have another monastery. It's a good move to put it here, here. And there's, I don't think, any reason why you'd put a 2 there. Like, that they warned us in the tutorial actually not to put the 2 size characters on monasteries. Man, that water sound effect. Let's see what it feels like there, where you don't have to listen to the water sound effect. It creates a different situation where you're barely getting any sound effects at all, but maybe not a terrible situation because those sound effects kind of suck anyways. Yeah, it definitely feels like it might be a slightly better experience to just listen to the game music. And I don't think you'll probably play too many games of Carcassonne in a row to ever really notice that the music is probably fairly repetitive. I'm just building a giant city here. Is there any reason why I would want to do that? Help somebody else? No. No, I do think move is to do this. Or do this. And if I do this, it helps the person. If I do this, it helps no one. Well, just in there. I could have put a person on the road, but I'm not expecting much to happen there. So I own this blue section. If I could get this blue section to wrap around into this green section, that would be great. But I need to also find some way to own the green section. I don't know if there's really a way for that to happen. Well, do I want this to end and finish as a connection so bad that I would have to share it? Or do I want to keep playing this way? Halfway through the game, you know, it probably wouldn't benefit anything if they did make a special indication if you're halfway through the game, but you certainly could have that kind of notification pop up just as a, hey, you're halfway through. That feels like something a Mario Party type game would do. How could I connect and change this green? Wait. This is a inroad, which I could probably use more to a benefit. I don't think the field affects the inroads. See, this one's already being affected by an inroad. And I guess we'll do that. And just waste a meeple. Oh man. I think at this rate, I probably am not going to be able to close this off, and even if I was able to close it off, I don't think I'd be able to close it off without losing value, losing ownership of it. Great. I guess we take that, and since we're going to score on that, no, that was not my plan. Born for shared. Yeah. Now this is being fought over by green and yellow, or yellow is taken over completely. It's hard to tell. Okay. This rotated this way. Double here. I'm gonna go crazy and put that there. Just in case. We've got 25 more pieces. Odds of some of these cities being finished are fairly low. I will say this game is fairly well balanced in the sense that you can't just focus on one thing and one thing only. If I was to do that. Yeah, sure. I gave 9 to that person, 4 to that person, 9 to that person. That was probably a huge mistake that I just did. So there's a slight question as to the value of the river changing things. There's a slight question as to the abbot really changing things particularly much in this expansion. Let's see. If I put that there, it would just make dead ends. Is that all I've got, though? Is potential dead ends everywhere? I should have taken this guy. Huge amount of score there. This guy is at 71. This guy's at 71 too. I'm at 4. Pathetic score. Right. Hey, I can actually score there. And can I put this down anywhere? No. So I got 9 and gave someone else 6. This does feel like a game if you're just too obsessed with doing your own thing. You can fail pretty miserably. And this is the dead square. Right. So finding more farmland is almost certainly not going to help us. Doing this probably will. Can I do anything with the abbot? No. Can I do this? Yes. Is there more score for doing this or this? I think it's pretty much the same. It's going to be 4 points. Notice how you have different colored flags on this city because different people claimed it, which might be the only reason why they might have needed that many turrets, but they could have just put the one winning side's flags, or even just not put up flags or random assortment of flags. Because if the idea is that you need 6 turrets on every single tile, because all 6 players might have an investment in the city, that'd be a little silly. I really should get an achievement for making such a pathetically low score compared to the computer AI. I think he is going to break potentially 100 here, if not 2 of them breaking 100. And I suppose there might be an argument that even though I do want more strategy in this game, by adding more variations and expansions of Carcassonne in the tile set, it has made it so convoluted and complicated that initially I am struggling to beat the AI characters. which is not a terrible thing, because if you were going to get really big into playing this game, you wouldn't want to win immediately and get bored. You would want to actually have to struggle and learn how to be a better player and actually practice. That's where these games would ideally be leaning towards, is that there would be room for practicing and improving and an excuse for playing more and more. Wow, it seems like it may just be 1 point shy of 100. Nope. The other guy went over 104. We've unlocked just around the river bend as an achievement. Not really a good reason for this to not have more room. And just play around with the font a little bit, make it a little bit smaller. So, road-wise, I was second worst. Monasteries-wise, I was actually fairly second best. Gardens-wise, I was worst. Which I don't know if I've figured out how to use gardens in the Abbot expansion at all. I probably haven't. It kind of feels like gardens are just monasteries in a sense. City-wise, I was pretty bad, or in the middle at least. In fields-wise, I was pretty bad. But the massive payout of cities certainly helped the other players double their score compared to mine. And this obviously will only get more complicated. Getting this achievement is trivial, certainly. All you have to do is play the river expansion 3 times. But we didn't accomplish any of these achievements for that expansion. I don't think these statistics really mean anything either. Like, they're numbers, and the numbers will go up, and that's about where it will fall. So, yeah. I'd say inns and cathedrals do introduce more strategy to the game, for sure. Having the double-sized meeple lets you potentially actually steal other people's creations a lot easier, where it's very difficult in the main game. The inn concept, and potentially not gaining points if you don't have a closed road or a closed city. Although, honestly, have already forgotten the scoring rules. That it'd be nice if there was a little cheat sheet instead of having to come back to this and then just scroll down, and any incomplete road does not score, any incomplete city does not score. But the cities only don't score with the cathedrals, and roads only score with the inns. Where it potentially could have been just one item or one thing, an inn that had that effect, and then cathedrals not needing to exist. And it definitely feels like traders and builders is going to be even bigger. And at a certain point, it might be so convoluted trying to do traders and builders and inns and cathedrals and the other DLC, Princess and Dragons. You can't do the winter edition, fortunately, because that would be even crazier. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.